Today I want to talk about the Pokemon game release calendar, the timeline. Arrow has created this image that we're seeing right here. We're going to take a look at that. And Centro Leaks is also reporting on a timeline that they're interpreting. And I've got some ideas that I'd like to share in regards to kind of how I'm feeling when it comes to the this whole year that we're gonna have to wait before getting any sort of more Generation 10 information. But so I'd like to talk about kind of how I'm feeling in regards to that, but also just kind of how what I'm hopeful for. I've got some ideas to share for how I think Pokemon is going to be looking, going into Generation 10, right? So we are currently in the 30th year anniversary. In February, we got the news that Generation 10, Winds and Waves, won't be releasing until 2027. And, I think we're all playing the hopeful game that means like early next year. Maybe we're going to get the game, or at least maybe mid-year 2027. We could get the game. That's still possible. But what we're seeing is a lot of leakers, a lot of I don't even like that term anymore, to be quite honest. I feel like there's isn't it kind of funny, just as an aside, isn't it kind of funny that we all believe these people online with leaks, and then when something comes out to be completely false, we still believe the leakers? I don't know. I just think more and more, I guess less and less, I am believing really anything. It's just difficult for me to, it's not even that I don't agree with people who have some information. It's just difficult for me to even entertain the idea that what they're saying is true. Because I wish they would just say, hey, I'm doing what Dusty's doing, which is just, I am giving an opinion for what I actually think, what we could see. Anyways, am I going to delete that? Probably not. Okay. Centro Leaks is saying currently in full production, we've got Winds and Waves, obviously. Pokopia DLC, which is pretty cool. Let me know if you want me to make a video on Pokopia DLC. I'm still having a lot of fun with Pokopia, and I think honestly, not enough people are in our space. Not enough people in the theory, in the lore space, the super nerds who love Pokemon lore, not enough of us, I think, are appreciating and playing through Pokopia, because it's got some juicy, it's really introducing some juicy canon and lore. I feel like no one's interested in it, which is disappointing. But anyways, let me know if you want me to talk about Pokopia DLC. It says Winds and Waves DLC is also being created, and then that Pokemon Project Karasu, which is supposedly, I don't really know where Centro's getting this, but supposedly that is Pokemon Legends 3, the third installment of the Pokemon Legends game is being worked on. It's in full production, as he says. And then some Game Freak projects that are in pre-production, which is not really that surprising. Generation 11, that's kind of cool. Just to even think about, like, oh, they're conceptualizing Generation 11. That's kind of cool. And then we got Pokemon Project Seed, the multi-region MMO. I've made some videos about this on my main channel. I think the idea of Project Seed is really exciting. Multi-region MMO is how this game has been, introduced to us through the Terra leak. We got some information. That's where a lot of this information comes from. But just like anything, I think no one wants to talk about this, but just like everything in the Terra leak, things can be scrapped, things can pivot, things can be transformed into new ideas. So I got some idea. Okay, let's talk about this. So Winds and Waves is in production. DLC for Winds and Waves is in production. Let's talk about the 5-year gap, right? I think there's a lot of content creators online who are kind of like doom posting, acting like this is the worst thing in the world. I think, sure, I think there's a little bit of mixed emotions even from myself, right? Would love to hear what you guys think about this in the comments, because I think there's nothing wrong with being disappointed. Obviously, I think we've gotten accustomed to getting a brand new mainline Pokemon game every single 3 years, and that's felt pretty good. And it seems like there's gonna be a 5-year gap between the release of Scarlet and Violet in 22 and probably the end of 2027. There's gonna be a 5-year gap when we finally get Winds and Waves at the end of 2027, which is, like I said, I've got mixed emotions. I think I'm excited to play Winds and Waves. What I've seen from Winds and Waves, from the trailer, I think has me excited. I guess I'll say this. Personally, I'm feeling already pretty stretched thin, right? As a fan, I'm feeling pretty stretched thin when it comes to not having enough time to play all these Pokemon games. XD Gale of Darkness, I have that game on my GameCube. I've had it. It just dropped on NSO. I would like to play it on my Switch. I would like to stream it. I would like to actually play through it all the way. And Shadow Lugia's in that. Like why have I not played it? Because I'm playing Pokopia. Because I still need to get to my Leaf Green playthrough that I kind of dropped at Gym 3. I just haven't had time to go back to it. Legends ZA. I never finished the DLC. I got pretty far. I was having fun. I want to battle Groudon and Kyogre. I have the donuts. I want to complete the decks. I want to capture all the Pokemon in Legends ZA so I can get that shiny Volcanion. There's so many shiny mythical Pokemon that I would love to add to my collection. And don't even get me started on Pokemon Champions. I haven't even touched that. I feel like there are so many things happening right now in 2026 for the 30th year anniversary, to be quite honest. And I just think there's too many people online just like doom posting about how having to wait another year is miserable. And I don't know. It's May 2nd right now when I'm recording this. And I feel like I don't know where 2026 has gone. To be quite, like, I'm like, this year's got to slow down a little bit. I've got things that I want to do, you know? And so that's me as a fan, personally. Like, I've got projects, I've got responsibilities. I don't even have a kid. And I'm like, I feel like I don't have enough time to play Pokemon. And life's good. I'm having a good, whatever. Anyways, this is not a personal update. But what I'm trying to say is, like, as a fan, I feel like I don't have enough time to play all of these Pokemon games that would be a lot of fun to play. Even though some of these titles are older titles, they would be fun to play because we would all be playing them together, right, online. There's people playing XD Gale of Darkness. There's people playing Leaf Green, rediscovering it, or playing it for the first time, and it would be fun to be interacting with those people. Is kind of my point, and that's going to go into some things that I'm going to talk about later in the video. But basically, personally, I feel like I don't have enough time as a fan to enjoy all these new releases. And then on the professional side, I've got projects that I want to do, so I'm actually kind of pumped that Winds and Waves is being pushed, because that means I have more time to make the Winds and Waves videos that I want to make. I have more time to make videos that have nothing to do with Winds and Waves, but maybe you don't even care about that. Probably not. So what I'm trying to say is I don't think this is that big of a deal, because Centro here, like the 5-year gap, I don't think it's that big of a deal, right? Because it's not 5 years that we have to wait. It's maybe a year and a half that we have to wait until Winds and Waves, right? From right now, it's less than a year and a half. It's less than, what would it be? 18 months? No, 12 plus 6. Yeah. It's less than a year and a half that we would have to wait from right now to get and actually get our hands on Winds and Waves. And to be honest, it's probably like 6 months before we start getting some Winds and Waves news, right? Maybe 7 or 8, I guess. It'll be February next year, Pokemon Day next year. Then maybe we get another Winds and Waves trailer and the floodgates open, just like what happened with Legends ZA, and we start getting a ton of news. But I just feel like there's some people, I feel like I've seen some doom posting, and not only is there plenty of things to enjoy right now in Pokemon, but guess what? I also think Centro's list is not incorrect, but I think there's tons of things in Centro's list right here that are not accounted for. I am very much expecting Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald to be ported to the NSO, which sure, you can say that doesn't matter at all. But there are new things in that game. And just like we saw with Fire Red and Leaf Green, which, to be honest, I forgot about, you can get Deoxys and Ho-Oh and Lugia. You can get those Pokemon in Fire Red and Leaf Green. That is new content for 99% of people. That's cool. I've never touched those in Fire Red and Leaf Green, and I'm pumped to get those when I actually get the damn time to actually play them. You know what I'm saying? And Ruby and Sapphire, if those are ported, we're gonna have the same thing there. That's more content, okay? But maybe that doesn't concern you. Maybe you're just like, that's an old game. I don't care. Great. What I'm kind of expecting. Okay, let's move on from this year. When we go into 2027, right? If 2027 is all about Winds and Waves, great, right? I mean, I think Pokobia DLC is coming this year, but again, if you don't care about that, fine. Winds and Waves, Gen 10, comes out next year, either the end of the year, maybe the middle of the year. But then guess what? We got DLC, right? And sure, maybe you're saying, who cares? We didn't need to wait an extra 2 years to get this. But I think something that we're forgetting about, and I don't know, to me this is a big deal. But I think something that we're forgetting about is that we can get new Pokemon through other games, like remakes, right? Like a Legends style game. What the heck is Project Seed? Right now, I guess 3 years ago when this information was obtained or you know, originated, it was a multi-region MMO. But I don't think there's no promise that we actually get a game that is an MMO. There's no promise that game even makes its way all the way to fruition, you know? And I think what I'm trying to say is when we're doom posting about, okay, Scarlet and Violet comes out in 2022, right? Winds and Waves comes out in 2027. That's 5 years. I think what people are, I think the boogeyman that has been created from this conversation is that Winds and Waves will actually set the precedent that Generation 11, which Centro is saying that we know is in pre-production, won't release until 2032. And yes, that is a little bit scary. 5 years after 2027, right? And I think what people are afraid of, what people in their mind, what they're thinking is, okay, we got Winds and Waves, we got Gen 10 and Gen 11, and some DLC happening in the course of 10 years, a decade. That is actually kind of insane, right? That is like a long time. And I think people are saying like, oh, wow, all of a sudden we're getting less and we have to wait even longer for the same amount and the same type of product that we would normally get. Like, it just feels like a downgrade. It feels like you have to wait and you just got to take, like, you have to wait even more time for a product that's not even that much better. Which I'm not sitting here saying an extra 2 years of development is 100% going to make Winds and Waves amazing. But I do think Winds and Waves looks good. And if it looks this good and the whole internet is unanimously pumped for a Pokemon game for the first time, I think the game is good. I think there's no... I'm trying to think how to say this. I'm not saying that Winds and Waves will actually be like a game of the year or something, but it can't be Scarlet and Violet, and it can't be Sword and Shield. And all the internet has ever said about these titles, these Pokemon games from the last decade, Legends EA, dude, it was painful to live through the hype cycle of Legends EA because it was just a bunch of complaining of we're not getting enough and I don't like what we have and the game looks horrible, which isn't even true, right? It's not. It's literally the best. I think the best looking Pokemon game. Maybe not the buildings, but the actual Pokemon and the characters. It looks great. It literally looks great. The city setting is a different conversation. The biomes, those are all different conversations. But like, I think Legends EA looks amazing, right? And if Winds and Waves looks that good when it comes to the Pokemon and the characters, and then the actual environment that looks good, which it does look good. I think Winds and Waves is going to be excellent. I think what I'm looking for, I think what I'm trying to say is Winds and Waves has the potential. Guys, we got to lift our spirits in our optimism. Winds and Waves. If Winds and Waves becomes the defining game, the Pokemon game, right? To rule them all, and it becomes the Pokemon game that is continually fun to go back to, and can actually then it won't be such a detriment if we have to wait another 5 years. And this is somehow taking me 15 minutes to get to the point where I start speculating. I think Winds and Waves is going to be great, but my vision for Generation 10 is that we, yes, get DLC for Winds and Waves, but what is Project Seed? That might never happen. My vision for Gen 10 is that we get multiple DLC packs in multiple locations, in multiple editions year after year to continually enhance the Generation 10 game. And I think that's how we end up with Generation 10 being the best-selling Pokemon game of all time, which doesn't matter to me as a player, but I think what I'm trying to illustrate is that, like, this could be the best game, the best Pokemon game, an experience that we've been asking for so long. And you got to let it cook. You got to let it cook. And then, again, here's another layer that, okay, maybe you don't care about that or that doesn't resonate with you. I think there's other things coming in the pipeline. Like, waiting 5 years between Scarlet and Violet and Winds and Waves. I guess on one hand, you could say, like, okay, what happened in between there? You could say we got DLC for Scarlet and Violet and then Legends EA, and then there's been nothing in the last 3 years, right? But you could also say 8 months before Scarlet and Violet, we got Legends Arceus, which was, like, squeezed in between Scarlet and Violet. But I'm like, and the BDSP was, like, 3 months before that. I'm not saying BDSP is great or whatever, but that's a lot of games in the 12-year period, the 12-month period of within Scarlet and Violet, right? It's like in 1 year we got 3 games, and now it's the 30th year anniversary. Yes, Legends EA was a very long time to wait, right? But we got Legends EA. We do have Pokopia, which is a banger. You got to play it. A lot of people are pumped for Champions. Sure, go be pumped for it. I think we're going to start seeing more ports. And I also think there's a potential that, and listen, a lot of this, I guess what I'm saying is, after Winds and Waves comes out, if we have to wait another 5 years between Gen 10 and Gen 11, what I'm saying is that no one is accounting for Legends 3, Legends 4, a Johto remake, a Unova, right? Black 3, White 3. Maybe we just get, I don't know, maybe we get Sun and Moon, the remake. What if those are ported? Not ported, but like we get like an HD remaster or something, right? We could get more ports. We could get more Pokopia DLC. There's a lot of, and then on top of all that, because all of those things are potential for new Pokemon, new characters, new lore, new legendary forms, right? In all of those games. And then also, if Winds and Waves continues to get a couple DLC packs, I feel like no one pays attention to this, but DLC, you get new lore, a new location, you get new Pokemon, you get new forms. Like, DLC can be pretty hefty, right? And it's all within this living game that is actually enjoyable to play. I think that's just like, I don't know. Right now, I'm busy, so I don't mind waiting because this year is flying by. I don't mind waiting for Winds and Waves. To be honest, I'm a little burnt out. I feel like to be honest, and maybe it's just because I make content and I'm covering this stuff nonstop, but I feel like from last summer until about a month ago, like I was cooked. And that's why I haven't uploaded on this channel in the last like month or so. But I'm cooking stuff in the back end. Anyways, I would love to hear what you guys have to say. I guess my main point is we're not waiting another 5 years. We're not. We're waiting a year and a half to play the game, but we're maybe waiting 6 months until we start getting some regular news. Which, to be honest, I don't know. That's not a lot of time. There's so many Pokemon things that I want to do and enjoy. And I guess, honestly, maybe that's another video, but maybe that's another rant. But you guys got to go back and play the old games. I feel like the people who are constantly desperate for new things, like, I'm also desperate for new Pokemon. Like, that is amazing. I love when there's a new Pokemon. But do we ever... I mean, I guess I just want to make it normal. Like, come on, guys. Like, go play the old games. When was the last time you played the old game? Because if you haven't played it in 3 years... If you haven't played it, to be quite honest, in 2 years... there's a lot that you probably don't remember. I promise you. You go pick up an old game, even if it's 3 years old, 5, 10 years old. Go pick it up. I guarantee you will not remember half of the dialogue, right? Half of the little interactions, half of the Pokemon that show up. Use a new team. I implore you. Pick up an old game, an old Pokemon game. Pick a new team. Use things that you wouldn't normally use. Things that you still like, but things that you wouldn't normally use. And I guarantee it feels like a brand new game because you just do not remember the actual little moments in that game. You know, I watch JPR, I watch Munching, I watch all my friends, and they make great videos, and I enjoy hearing the jokes. Like, I was just watching a Papa C video the other day, and he's reciting some facts that I like didn't even know about, or maybe were like a little bit unfamiliar to me, and I was like, this is cool. But every time I go back and play like an old Pokemon game, I read something and I think, no one talks about this. You know, I go, wow, that's a really cool detail. This feels like I can make a whole new theory off of this, you know? And I don't know. I just think we need to, like, getting the new thing is so fleeting. That excitement of a brand new Pokemon reveal, great. I do love that. That feels good. But it's fleeting. If you don't go back and appreciate the stuff that you've probably forgotten about, you know? I don't know. That's just me. Man, this turned into a rant. I hope everyone's having a great day. I'm glad to be back on this channel. Subscribe if you're new for more rants, I guess. But what do you guys think? Are you guys bummed out? Because yes, obviously I want new info. I want to learn more about Winds and Waves, but I'm cool. I don't know. I'm cool. You know, something I was gonna say that I didn't really totally say, but like, what if Project Seed gets scrapped and the multi-region idea is recycled into Winds and Waves? And to be honest with you, Centro doesn't know anything about this. He doesn't. They don't. The organization, whatever. They don't. This is information from the Terra Leak. And on the Terra, like, where this information is from, the Pokemon Project Seed, it says, I think it says like 23, 24. It's old information. You know? It's old. No one knows. We know it did exist. But what if it gets scrapped? And Gen 10, and this is, I think, fueling my vision for Winds and Waves. What if Winds and Waves, the DLC is, you go to Kanto, and then you go to Johto, and then you know what I'm saying? It's the Gen 10 celebrates the older generations. Like, that's so sick. And thematically, that sounds like a blast. I don't know. You guys let me know. Yeah, I don't know. Subscribe if you're new. All right, awkward silence.